that we now have our opportunity to listen to the final speaker. This will be handled by FCPA Erick Kimani, the Executive Director, PalmHouse Dairies, but moderated by George Ogutu, the IIK Honsek, who will be able to now walk to the stage and lead us through that take-home paper, after which we can call it a conference and head out for the rest of the evening. A round of applause for Bwana Ogutu as he takes the floor. Much welcome. And
thank you, MC. Don't tire. This is the last paper. So I'll make it very brief because I know we are all looking forward to our meal. So I will not belabor it with a lot of stories. You know, being a last paper or being a last born sometimes has its own disadvantages. Yeah, and I know enough last borns are here. So we would want to make sure we take advantage, as we've been taught today, take advantage of our situations and make sure we are able to do what? To excel in our various activities. So our paper, this last paper, is about unleashing your full potential. It's a take-home paper. So after you've learned all the things that you've learned in this conference, there'll be things that we want you to take home in a way that at least will have a memorable experience for this 38th IIK annual conference. So to take us through that paper will be FCPA Erick Kimani, and is here with us. I'll just give you a brief summary of who he is, what he has been through. He has very many accolades, some of which he'll tell you himself when he comes here. But he's the Executive Director of PalmHouse Dairies Limited. He's a business entrepreneur. He's a philanthropist, and he has extensive experience in the management of organizational change and emerging technology. He is also an author, motivational and inspirational speaker. He's the founder of PalmHouse Dairies Limited, and he's also the founder of Githunguri Business Park, and he's also the founder and principal consultant of Harvest Consulting Limited, a leadership and management consultancy firm. I think that really gives him the authority to speak to us on the topic of today. Now, he's done quite a bit as a leader. He has served, and you can go through his profile on your notebooks. He's done quite a bit as a leader and as an executive director of various companies, and they're all listed there. Please go through it very quickly. And he's also a philanthropist. He's a chairman of the PalmHouse Foundation, and I know you've all heard about PalmHouse Foundation. It is an educational trust that finances secondary school of needy and deserving students and mentors them through life. So he is also chair of Brook East Africa and board member of TechnoServe. He has served for many years as chairman of a disciplinary committee at the Institute of Certified Public Accountants. So the things we've been talking about here about ethics, code of conduct, professionalism, I think he's a good person to tell us what those things really mean. And he's been a past governor of the Rotary District 9200, comprising Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Eritrea, South Sudan, and the rest. And there's a long profile there that you can go through. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming FCPA Erick Kimani.
Thank you, moderator. Hamjambo. Aye. This is called Graveside Shift. I am studying between you and lunch. In 2019, you invited me to come and speak to you. I must have done so poorly that you decided to give me an opportunity again to rescue my name. So I'll try my best this time. I'm glad that Mr. Kuria spoke. I don't like this podium. I'll come nearer you. Mr. Kuria spoke about my copyright, abundance versus scarcity mentality. That's what most of you know me about. I did a paper in 2001, I spoke about the scarcity mentality, and it is still a hit. For those of you who want to learn more of what I do, please go online. I dominate the Google pages of Erick Kimani, so you will see what else I do. That will be a good introduction. I won't go there. I had been asked to come and speak to you for 1 hour, 20 minutes. I don't think that will happen. I'll speak to you for 30 minutes and allow you 10 minutes question. Do you allow me that? Thank you, thank you. Then we can start. First of all, a caveat. I am a very, very vulnerable speaker. I speak from the heart. Sometimes you may think at the end of it, I'm an angel. Some of you may think that I am very good at the things I do. But I must tell you that I am not an angel. I have failures, even out of the things that you hear me talk about, successful life, significant life, and all that. I have my failings. But generally, I am happy with my life. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So the things I'll talk about today is unleashing your potential. Please allow me if I say something the way you wouldn't say it. It is just to try and explain what I need to explain. So I'll try and stop by 1500 hours. And I would start where I have started there by saying that no one can grow beyond the vision of their dreams. And I'm happy that IIK has invested in you now as an individual, because this is your take home. The things I'm going to talk about are things that perhaps are completely beyond insurance, have nothing to do with what you're doing here, but it is to address the software that is our minds. So let's dwell into it. I hope I can drive this thing. Did it move? Who has the computer? All right. Who is moving it? It has moved. Okay. I hope then we are on the right section. Let me make that. Yes, let's start there. You all can read. What can you read there? What words make meaning to you? You know, I've discovered that the phone and the things that we do with the phone keep us away from learning. And Professor Letting has said we need to learn. So what is your innate talents? What is your gifting? And everybody has innate talents. So unleashing your potential is about tapping those innate talents thank you. And abilities, and using them to achieve your goals. And your goals are those things that you dream of. They are those things that you have assessed yourself, your skills and abilities, you know them. I don't know whether some of you have ever sat and asked themselves, what skills and abilities do I have? What is a meaningful life for me? What is a fulfilled life? What motivates you? So we're going to be looking at how do we unleash our potential? What examples can I share? And let me begin with 2-minute story. About 10 years ago, I started working with a girl who is 33 years now. And I want to prove to you that what I'm talking to you about, I know. This lady now works in Amsterdam. Her name is Patricia. She is 33. This year, she bought a flat in Amsterdam for close to 60 million shillings, Kenya shillings. She's not married. But I took her through this journey for the last 10 years plus, and I can see her success. I have a young man called Michael. Michael started as a procurement manager in a hotel in Nairobi. Michael worked with me for the last maybe 11 or 12 years. This week, Michael told me that he has hit the 1 million mark for salary, and the position we've been planning for the last 2 or 3, 4 years, he has achieved it. The next one is Mwangi, Sam Mwangi, came to see me on Saturday. Michael and Mwangi were not married, they were young men, but over those periods they have gotten married, they have a family, they are doing well. So the things I'm going to talk to you about is not things I haven't tested, it is things that I have tested and I know what it is. So what does your mission have to do with your work then? I hope this thing is moving at the same speed as I am. Yep. Why this topic? Why am I talking about a topic that has nothing to do with insurance? I'm talking about this because we want to enhance personal performance, to be able to tackle our own personal challenges and the challenges of the corporate world where we work and the things we do. I'm talking about this to help you, to help me lead a balanced life. Life is about balance. What is balance? Balance is the word end. Life is, I am a father, I am a corporate leader, I am a business leader, I am a church leader, I am a friend to friends. All those things I need to be. You are a mother, you are a corporate leader, you are everything. So you need balance in that part of life. So the whole idea of this topic is to help us lead a meaningful and quote-unquote successful. Success can be defined many ways. A meaningful and successful life. And where does this come from? About when I was in my early 30s, I realized that my life, like those younger men and women I spoke to you about, was not turning out well. And I read a book, which I recommend to any of you who like reading, again, to Professor Leting's words. I read a book entitled First Things First. If you can find it, please read. First Things First by Stephen R. Covey. And in that book, is it me who is moving this thing? It's not yet meant to go there. It is not meant to be there. No, it is meant to be somewhere else. Yep, there. In this book, I learned how to prepare a mission and vision statement for my life, the way I've taught those 3 young men. And I only give those 3 examples. And by the way, like Mr. Kuria, I do that for free. My only request is that they pay it forward and mentor others. Yeah? So I sat back and said, I want to restructure my life. I want my life to have meaning. I want my life to be able to impact, to be life of impact. You cannot be successful in one area of life and a failure on the other. You need balance. If you are going to be successful, you need to have balance. So, I hope this will move again. Okay. So I asked myself these questions, which I hope you can ask yourself. How does my everyday life feed to my overall life's plan? But in the first place, do you have an overall life's plan? I don't know. By the way, I'll do a test. I told you I'm vulnerable. How many like me have a written vision and mission statement? Can I see hands up? A written mission and vision statement, like those 3 people I spoke about. So we haven't done it. For the younger people and even the older, we can do it, and it is possible. And the overall thing is talk about your overall lifespan. Who are you? What is your self-leadership? How are you going to lead your life? How are you going to be self-motivated, to have drive to do the things you do? And I'm going to share one or two things that I do. And to have the mindset and the skill set to get what you want. I can tell you for a fact that for the last 3 decades plus, I have achieved 99% of what I have planned. I have failed, yes, in many ways, but I do achieve most of the things that I plan. Are we using our talents and our gifts, our energy and time to our satisfaction? How many of you can tell me this week what you achieved against every goal of your life? Or where you failed? I can tick all of them. I can tell you what I attained in goal number 1 of my life, goal number 3, goal number 4, goal number 5. And some of them I don't achieve 100%. I have never even achieved 100% of any of the goals, except perhaps where you set the goal too low. But you need to have that. And these are the critical questions you need to ask yourself. If you really want to lead a significant, meaningful, and impactful life, ask yourself these questions. And if you read that book on page 42, no, not page 42, on one of the pages at the mission development page, there are 42 questions that addresses you and helps you make your mission statement. Very easily, asking you, what are your dreams? What things make you happy? What are your aspirations? Where would you like to be in the future? And what is recommended is that you take a retreat, like Jubilee or Old Mutual or Minet takes a retreat to go and do a strategy. You take your own retreat, maybe in your house if you can't. I did mine many years ago in a place in Naivasha. I have revised it many times. Every year, every 2 years, every 5 years, I look back. And ask yourself these questions. So the mission-driven life is about a life with a plan. When you make it personal, it is much easier. If you answer those questions and you write it down, I can guarantee you, you will get it right. Then you set objectives that are smart, just like the organization you work for, the way you go to do the strategy. Even for your own life, you can do it. You can do it. You can set specific, strategic, measurable goals, and I'll share with you 1 or 2 of mine and how I pursue them. And I like that saying that says that those without goals are used by those who have them. Because if you don't have goals, you will spend a lifetime of just being pulled this way and that way. When you meet people, they tell you, we do this, you think that's all right. But for me, if it doesn't add to my mission or my vision, I don't do it. So I have, for my part, I have 5 goals, and I want to share that with you. I told you I'm quite a vulnerable person. But let me, first of all, before I share the 5, tell you what is the result of doing what I'm trying to ask you to do. The result is that you have focus. I don't know, people will tell you, Mr. Kimani is a very focused person. It comes from that practice, from that mission, vision-driven life. You will have impact, and I can share with you a couple of stories. You'll be successful in many things you do, and you will lead what Dr. Kuria said, the abundant life. Your habit becomes ingrained in you. I don't know how many of you know the impact of PalmHouse Foundation? Anybody has ever met the PalmHouse Foundation? Yeah, the PalmHouse Foundation. Of course, insurance people are very focused on insurance. I was listening to your debate about the boardroom. If you keep focusing on insurance, you will not get to the boardroom. You must focus, like Leting said, and like Mr. Kuria said, outside. Let it not be just about insurance. So this may sound very Greek, but give it a trial. It is, and like many things, even if only 1 or 2 or 10 of you do it, I will have achieved my end. But something like the PalmHouse Foundation would never been set up. PalmHouse Foundation today, some of you manage the fund, the endowment fund. We have raised almost 200 million shillings endowment in the last 10 years, educated over 1,000 Kenyan students. And the question of legacy and success is already a foregone conclusion. So, like I said, the action to do, where do you start? Set a time, set up a place, spend a day, 2 if you can. Ask the hard questions of your life and create for yourself an empowering mission or creed to live right by. I am sure if you go to Jubilee or Minet or ICA, you will find they have a creed that drives them. What drives you as a person? Like learning how to drive, it will be shaky for a while. In my first 5 years of trying to lead this kind of life, I could hardly achieve a 50% score. Maybe in my first 5 years, I was hitting 60%. By 7th year, maybe I was close to 80%. And consistently over the last 2 decades plus, of the goals I set, I achieve at least a minimum of 80%, which I consider an A in life. It gives you high confidence and helps your ability to do that. So this is my mission in life. I can tell you, some of you must be wondering, does this man score 80% on spirituality? I don't. But I aspire. Do I score 80% on physical fitness? I do. I've been here the whole of this week. I've done exercise every day except one. Why? Because it's my mission. I don't do exercise anymore to look better, but I have put it as part of my mission. I have said the first pillar of my life will be to love wife and family. And I give it my best shot, my very best shot. And it works. I have said to myself that I want to give my best to all. I told you I'm a bit vulnerable, but yes. When I report to KRA, I have maybe 7 to 8 payslips from 7 different sources. Why would people want me to chair their boards or to be a board member? Why did I do CEO of some companies in this country? It is because it is in my mission to give my best to my employer, to give my best to everybody, both king and pauper. And it's part of my mission. I'm not doing anybody a favor by working diligently. It is part of my mission. I have made a little wealth in my life. I have used creating wealth for me. If you ask me, what did you do yesterday or last week, and how much contribution did it make to your wealth bottom line, I can tell you. I can tell you what I did last week. By the way, I have a habit that is very ingrained in me of writing a daily journal. So all I would need is to open my journal and I can recount against my peers, what was I doing? Where did I fail? Where was I succeeding? I'm crazy about creating wealth. And I said that if I create wealth, use part of it to empower the less fortunate. So when I do PalmHouse Foundation, I am not doing anybody a favor. It is part of my mission. And no wonder it became so successful. When I do things, when I give to charity, you heard me say I'm a philanthropist. My wife and I have given tens and tens of millions to charity because it is part of number 4, to empower the less fortunate. Why? Because it's part of the mission. And finally, it's what Professor Leting was telling you. I have sworn that I want to be a learning person. I want to keep my mind challenged. When you invite me to come and do this talk, and by the way, I was speaking also at the Institute of Accountants, who are my most addressed crowd. I do a lot of research. I have spent endless hours researching what to talk about. When you ask me to come and speak about emotional intelligence and I don't know enough, I'll read. And that search for knowledge, every time I am reading something as part of my mission. So, what are the results? The results is that you are focused and you have enhanced performance. People ask me, Mr. Kimani, how do you serve? And by the way, I train audiences. I train audiences in international for Rotary. I train audiences all over the world and all over Africa. And I sit on many, many boards and do many stuff. How do I do it? Focus and enhanced performance comes from a mission-driven life. If you put it down, the same way you work so diligently as the CEO of the company or whatever, if you work on this diligently, it will work. Impact, social and corporate leadership. I knew that the King and Queen of England were coming long before it was made public last week. And I'll be meeting them because of the work I do in social responsibility. It gives you a focus and it makes you live what is called an intentional life. Life is not like this. You are on an intentional life path. But I think the biggest thing for me is legacy. Even if I were to die today, I can guarantee you that my name will remain in the books of this country and many other places in the world, just like Rockefeller or the Ford Foundation. Because I was deliberate. It is deliberate as part of my mission and vision. So those are the results that you get. And like I said, those of you who would like to read, I published a book that was based on that famous talk done here in Mombasa on the 1st of December 2001 to the Institute of Bankers. The talk was entitled Scarcity versus Abundant Mentality, and it changed many people's life. I've been wanting to write a second book. It's been coming, but it's not coming yet. But there you are. The question is, what does it take to be a grand chess master of your life? I have a fair control over mine with all the difficulties. But It's like chess master. It is not memory, it is not IQ, it is the amount of time spent learning and understanding the moves and continuous learning and relearning. So I hope today I have now 3 minutes left before I cross. I hope I have inspired you to think, and I'll give you an opportunity to ask me questions. And I'll make one last quotation somebody quoted and said, doing things as they come or as friends suggest is crass generosity. I don't do things as they come. I don't do things as friends want. I do things according to my mission and vision in life. And that way, I've ended up doing quite a few successful things with the results that I have given you. Those of you who like to follow what I write on Facebook a lot. I wrote a story on Tuesday about a young man I met in this room. It's a very long story, but you can read it and see the impact of leading a mission-driven life with a mission and vision. Allow me to respect your time and add there, and allow the MC to ask questions. Thank you.
Let's give me a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think that was very eye-opening. I'd like to ask the attendants to note down some questions. We'll be giving you an opportunity to ask 1 or 2 questions, and even those who are joining us virtually, if you could prepare or share your questions. But Mr. Munene, if just very briefly you could answer to a few curious observations that I made. Why not just live? I mean, our forefathers just lived and life was fine. To what extent will we document our life, spiritual, physical, financial? Will we be having a mission and vision statement for every aspect of our life? Or could we just live and be happy? Right? That's 1. 2, how do we tell whether we are on track? At what point do we do a self-evaluation? Is this self-awareness a continuous thing, or is a one-off that we just do and then sit back and wait for results? Who do we engage when we are doing that self-review? Is it our peers? Who can give us positive feedback to enable us know whether we are on time or not, or we are within our line? That is a group of questions within one. Just a final one before you pick. Thank you. What is the background, or what informs our current state of unawareness, if I may use that word, assuming that we are not aware that we're supposed to unleash our full potential? Is it our upbringing? Is it education system? What really informs our current state, and what are we to do to the next generation? Maybe if you can pick those, then.
Oh, thank you very much. I will start where you stopped. What informs our lack of awareness and our way of life? I think the simple answer is, there is a saying that says, if you don't know that you do not know, and you do not know you don't know, then you don't know, isn't it? It's because we don't know. You don't know, you don't know. And it is lack of questioning, and I'll bring that back to your question, your first question, where you asked, why not just live like our forefathers? Our forefathers were decimated by hunger, by weather, They didn't live as long as you guys are living. They didn't have, it is such a fatalistic way of life to say that, wacha maisha yapite. And it is true. The man in Madare and the man who lives in Modaiga, they will all live and they will all die between the ages of 70 and 90. That is true. But everybody in this room wants a better life. I want a better life. I enjoy the better life. I want to do stuff for other people. I want to do stuff for myself. I don't want to be limited by many things. So, really, to say that live and be happy, it is possible. And the majority of people live in that space and walk every day until the day you go to the grave. Do you want it that way? It is your choice. It is your choice. But you can make a difference. How do you tell you're on track? Until 2021 COVID happened, I used to do an annual review of my how I'm doing. Actually, a retreat. Now that I can afford to go out and do the retreat, I would go out and retreat and go through all the questions and all the scores, wealth. I go through doing my best, how good am I doing with family, but I know for the last 2 years, I've not done it properly, but I still sit back in my office at the end of the year, and I wrote a post on the 1st of January of 2022 that can tell you how I scored and how I wrote it. It was a public post. Yes, I keep track. And I can even track it in 6 months, in a year or whenever time. Self-awareness, how do you do? Is exactly the same thing, self-review. But I think your peers also can tell. When things are going right, your peers can also help you to see that you are not achieving or you are not doing the things that you meant or you have declared to do. So it is both self, but it's also peer related. Your peers are likely to know and to tell you. And you can also see how you are doing on your goals. But remember, it is your goals. So it is very easy for you to measure yourself. I guess I'll take a few more from the crowd if there is. Thank you.
Thank you. That is very well answered. And I think I'm sure there were enough other people who are also feeling the same kind of questions. Maybe along the way, I know you've said you've published books, so you will advise the members how they can access your books, just to dig a little deeper into your thoughts and try and put them into practice. But yes, I think we have learned quite a bit today. Members will agree that from what we studied yesterday, what we were taught yesterday, Mr. Munene has enabled us to know that you do put first things first, you prioritize, and that you set objectives. I think I'm just trying to pick what he mentioned. And these objectives need to be smart and strategic, and that you have to achieve a mission-driven life in the process. He has told us where to start, provide time and reflect on your mission, create the mission, set the objectives and follow through. And he has also promised us when you do all this, you will see results, and he has given us his own experience of how the PalmHouse Foundation has raised quite a substantial amount of money and educated several students in Kenya. And he's hoping, I think he has not stopped, he said he's continuously learning, and that he hopes someday he'll leave a legacy just like the Rockefeller Foundation. And I think we should wish him well, shouldn't we? Yeah, let's give him a round of applause again. Thank you. So now I'll invite MC Okari to just pick a few questions from the members and the ones online, and then we'll wind up, I think, this session. Thank you.
Very well. I will have two again. We have one here. Any other from the audience? We have two. Thank you very much. Let's start with you.
Thank you, Kimani, for good presentation. Please help me know how to overcome procrastination, self-contentment, and even forgetting. Like you have really charged me, but maybe Monday, I forget. They say I want to watch my weight. When I come to Sarova, you forget to eat as much as possible. Please touch on those 3 issues. Thank you.
You say you watch your weight and then you see it on Viusasa. That's okay.
Okay, thank you. My name is Ui. Thank you very much, Mr. Kimani, for the presentation. Now, I'm very excited to see an individual with a vision and mission. I think you are a rare kind of person because when you asked whether there is anyone else with the vision and mission, nobody raised their hand. So I think this is an eye-opener. Now, I'm particularly concerned about your mission. One of them touched me because I think it holds the key to the others. That is creation of wealth. Because I believe if you achieve that, it will enable you to achieve the others. Because once you create wealth, you'll be able to love your wife. Did you'll also be able to help the other less fortunate members of the society. So maybe you can just give us a few insights on how you went about creation of wealth so that maybe we can start from there. But I may be wrong, so you can guide us. Thank you.
I think I'll start with that last question because it's, first of all, completely, in my finding, completely untrue. Wealth is not the central. And by the way, of all my goals, the easiest was wealth. Of all the goals, and for you and for the 3 young people I told you a story about, of all their goals, the easiest is to build wealth. I mean, you just have how can I put it? One of them started as an accounts clerk, but because he was following the right things and the right procedures, he has now risen to a regional director, earning the money. So that's how he has built his money. And that's how he has bought plots, gotten married and all that. Yes? So wealth is not very difficult. The difficult part is what he said, procrastination. Sitting down and agreeing, of all the people who come to me, and I can tell you my file is this size, maybe I have like 50 names of people in the last 20 years who have come to me for mentoring. But the successful ones cannot be 10 because of exactly what he is saying. They come just like church, Nanta Okoka leo, and you go, you come the next Sunday, Nani. It's the same thing. The commitment to do it is the hardest thing. The commitment, like I have never, how can I tell you? I do yoga, but I have no idea what yoga is. To tell you the truth, I have never been to a class of yoga, but I have learned the moves and the things to keep me agile. And when I started, I could do for 10, 15 minutes and I would feel, my goodness, why am I doing this? It is so hard. There are moves I could do 10 and I could do more. Today I can do 100 every day of the week. Why? Because I've been consistent. Trying. I told you my goals in the initial years were, I'm achieving this. But I kept pouting. Today, I can achieve most of my goals. I don't think there is anything I would want to do or something I would like to do that I cannot do. That I do not think. If it's within my mission, of course it may take time, but if it is in my mission, I will do it. I know it will take time, but I will do it. So the answer to the other question that very few people, here I am sure there are people with a vision and mission, but most people also are not vulnerable. There could be people sitting here who have what I asked, but people are not vulnerable. If I am a very layer person, even my wife tells me I'm a little crazy, yeah, because I share deeper things and the way I do stuff. And I don't agree that people here don't, okay, some of them may not be written, but it would be nice to write. But there you are. The most difficult of my goals is not wealth. It is not helping the poor that I am able to help all the time. The most difficult is the spiritual. That I don't think I've ever achieved 80% in my life. Yeah? Physical exercise, I can achieve 100%. I can do it for a whole month. I can create wealth every day of my life, and I can tell you today I called my debtors and I got paid 1 million shillings. Today I went to speak to East Park. Today I did this, I did that. Helping the poor, I can write what I did exactly. But that goal called spiritual, that one I'm still wrestling with. It is not the easiest to achieve. It is the hardest. Wealth, for me, is the easiest. Even to my mentees, what I have seen over more than 10 years, making money is the easiest. If you know what money you want to make, not going to work and getting a salary every month and saying you are, yeah, having goals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other question?
Yes, I'm just getting new feedback from the online audience, again coming from the former director, Agnes Masharia. I'll just read it as it is. She writes, congrats IIK Director Alice and your team, which organized this wonderful IIK 38th conference. It was a real conference dealing with real issues affecting this industry. We leave the conference well equipped thanks to the speakers, moderators, and paper chairs, and well-connected delegates. That's her right feedback from the online audience.
Thank you. Thank you, MC, and thank you, our past director, Agnes. I think FCPA Erick Kimani Munene has done justice to this paper. He has told us we need to be vulnerable speakers and that we can grow, or rather no one can grow beyond the vision of their dreams, and that you need to unleash the innate, is it innate or innate talent? Because unleashing your potential is just about this. So thank you very much. A round of applause again to him.
Very well.
And I think we've come to the end of that session. He did his concluding remarks as he was answering Lawi's question. So I believe we are good to go. So I'll give this back to the MC to bring us to a close of the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. A round of applause for Honsek. Wonderful, wonderful. Very nice English. Thank you for considering to have me serve you even with your good English. A good idea would have been you being an MC. You hear that English? The decorum and the blessing that comes with Mr. George Ogutu. Thank you once more. A round of applause for him, and of course, our speaker for the day for that wonderful FCPA, Erick Kimani.